Good evening, everybody. Welcome to College Football Wraparound. I'm Cooper Naylor, and right now I am trying out something a little bit new for live streaming software. So very happy that you could join us here tonight. All right, so we are working. Just had to go check over on YouTube. So as you can see that I am for the first time using the Rumble Studio. Figured out that a lot of the same stuff that I could use on Rumble is stuff I've used with with Talk Studio for live streaming stuff. And so what I'm doing right now is that I'm just going to use Rumble Studio. Plus, this Rumble Studio is just free to use. So I got to say, I'm going to use it and Talk Studio probably not pay for anymore. But I'll probably still look at some of the features and whatnot. But, wanted to go live through the Rumble Studio tonight just to see how things go. So, welcome. If you are here for College Football Wraparound, welcome. Got a lot to talk about. A lot has been happening. Of course, I haven't been here on the channel recently, so for one, I took a break on that last Wednesday, I think, because I was extremely busy last week and just exhausted. So I was taking a break. And then Sunday, I was thinking about doing the Super Bowl, but I was not feeling great. So I canceled that. And then yesterday, I was literally so busy yesterday, I completely forgot about doing the video. Had a 4-H workshop and then was working on scholarship stuff. That took me all day. So I completely forgot about a video yesterday. So that brings us to tonight. And there's been a lot going on in college football. And so having a little bit of a break, it's given me a little bit of time to get a couple things to talk about. And so let's go ahead and I'll show you first topic, which happened. You've already seen this, but Nick Saban joining College Game Day. I got to say this because to me, it wasn't a shocker to see Nick Saban join College Game Day. Because to be honest with you, I felt like it was just going to be inevitable that he was going to join College Game Day no matter what. And it's happened. It just fits College Game Day. And the reason why I say that is, for one, college, like all these football shows, when you look at the analyst, there's always that coach. But the reason why I think Saban was hired from the ESPN side of things, if you look at Lee Corso, he's done an incredible job over his career covering college football. But you can't escape the fact of he's in his 80s. He has scripted segments on the show, and he's not on there. It's a 3-hour show, and he's probably on there for a total of about 45 minutes. And so, and really, the big time story, like the big stuff that he does is the headgear pick and the picks that they make. That's what's made College Game Day big, because I don't know how many people really watch the first 2.5 hours of the show, but the majority of what people watch from College Game Day is the final 30 minutes where they're picking all the games. Because from a fan standpoint, they're like, who do they think is going to win the game? Because they're supposed to be the experts. And so that's what Game Day has really been famous for. And Lee Corso famous for the headgear pick. Well, with the health issues Lee Corso has had, I feel like getting Nick Saban, and Nick Saban's in his 70s, but he still is in really good health. I feel like part of it is in a attempt to get a coach's perspective. but they're going to keep Lee Corso on the show. So what does this say about College Game Day's future? I mean, I think it's a plan of, for right now, you got Saban. I mean, he's 72 right now. I mean, you could possibly get 15 years out of him if he stays healthy enough. So what do I think that this is going to? I think it'll be interesting for sure. Do I think that he's going to be good at it? Oh yeah, I think he's bringing to perspective that I don't think a lot of coaches could bring to media. And you got to look at it this way, because if you look at Fox Big Noon Kickoff, anything Urban Meyer says is like, it goes trending because it's Urban Meyer. And everybody wants to know, what's Urban Meyer thinking? Well, it's going to be about the same thing for Nick Saban. Anything he says when it comes to College Game Day is going to go viral. And especially when you're going to get hard-hitting topics that he may have to cover. And especially Alabama. Because the first time he gets asked about what does he think about Alabama this season, that's going to be interesting for Nick Saban. What's he going to say? And so I think it's going to give him that opportunity to really be honest, and really some of the things he hasn't been able to say while being a head coach, he feels like he could be more freely to express some of that. So, I mean, if I am ESPN, do I think that this is something that is going to be successful? I think if you're ESPN, I think you got to consider this a success because you got the greatest head coach of all time on your show. Now, Saban, the one thing I wonder about Saban is this, because let's say he's there for 10 to 15 years, and the perception then, some of the younger fans probably won't really remember what he did as a head coach, and it's going to be more about what he's done on game day. So what's he going to, what is it going to be like for him to go from being perceived as the best coach ever to you have this group of people who are younger who are thinking, oh, he's the guy on College Game Day. That really will interest me to see how that all works out. But do you think I'll be watching? I will say this, because of course here on Saber Broadcast Network, our Saturday pregame show always happens, but I may watch the first 20 minutes at the beginning of his first show just to get an idea of, okay, he's joined game day. I want to see what is the feel around game day. That's all I'm going to be watching for. I don't necessarily watch it to be watching it, to be honest with you. It's more, if you think about it, I have it on as background noise. And I think that's how a lot of people are beginning to be, is that the majority of the show is just background noise, not really paying attention to College Game Day. If I really want to be honest with you, Big Noon Kickoff, I think, is more substantial. I think they're more about the football, which I think a lot of fans want to talk about football. So, take that as you want it. But Nick Saban does bring an interesting perspective, I think. And I think it's interesting to see him joining game day. Although I don't think it was really a shocker to anyone who has watched any kind of developments. Plus, you got to think about this. You look at how many times, if Saban wasn't coaching in the national championship, he was there in some capacity. And that capacity is he was on the set with ESPN. And most notably, he's sitting there with Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, Kirk Herbstreit, Lee Corso. I mean, David Pollock while he was part of the show, which I still feel like that hurt ESPN getting rid of him off of College Game Day. So, I mean, you got it when it comes down to it, it's not a shocker he's joined College Game Day. That's the one thing I want you to remember when it comes to Saban joining ESPN. It's not a shocker in the slightest. So, that's all I wanted to talk about Nick Saban. Let's turn our attention now to Bill O'Brien. Yes, the guy who everywhere he goes, it seems like the fans seem to dislike him, has found his way to another job, and that is Boston College. Now, let's give some background to this, though. He had joined Ohio State to be the offensive coordinator after being the offensive coordinator at the Patriots, where he failed miserably last season. He was going to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Well, change of events. He is going to go to Boston College and coach. He's the head coach after Jeff Hafley leaving the job to take the defensive coordinator job at the Green Bay Packers. What do I think of this hire? First off, I think it's a slam dunk. And here's why, okay? Because when you're a team like Boston College, you're not necessarily going to get a high-profile, like you don't feel like you're going to get a high-profile guy. I'm here to tell you, look, you may not like the way he runs things, but you can't deny this. He wins most places he went. Now, New England last season, they didn't win. But let's go back in history. Penn State, pretty good. When he was head coach of the Houston Texans, they were good. Let me tell you, the Houston Texans were a good team while he was a head coach. Now, what got him fired was that because he also took on the role of GM. Yeah, that didn't exactly go well. But here's the thing. He then goes to Alabama, offensive coordinator, and they did a good job. I mean, got a playoff appearance, went to the national championship game. You had the Heisman winning quarterback at Alabama, Bryce Young. So, I got to say this. Bill O'Brien to Boston College, I like the hire. I think it's a great hire for Boston College. And you didn't think you were going to get a high-profile guy. Well, I think this guy has a lot. He's very notable. A lot of people know who he is. Quite frankly, it might just work for Boston College. And honestly, maybe the best thing that happened for you is the fact that Jeff Hafley decided to leave and you got Bill O'Brien. I think that's a win-win if you think about it. So Bill O'Brien to Boston College. I think if you're a Boston College fan, you are ecstatic right now. This is a huge hire. And I think it's going to work. So, of course, leave your comments below about Bill O'Brien and Nick Saban so far, because this is just a couple of my topics so far. I got more coming. But, yes, okay. So you got a comment here. Let me see. I don't know if it'll let me show it. I haven't tried this before. So there we go. Okay. So I can actually show it. Okay, nice. So Colton Naylor says, O'Brien is an extremely underrated coach. an extremely underrated hire. Yeah, I would agree. Um, I just believe, just like you, Colton, I just believe that he doesn't get the credit he deserves because, like I said, even at the Houston Texans as a head coach, they were a good football team. Now, they didn't get to the AFC Championship, but Houston's not known for really winning. Look what he did with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, while Bill O'Brien was there, great quarterback. Now that he's in Cleveland, just not really that great of a season. But let's be honest. Bill O'Brien did a good job with Deshaun Watson. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. Bill O'Brien, I think, is a great hire for Boston College. So, all right, let's move on to our next topic, and that is Chip Kelly. So, we've previously talked about Bill O'Brien had originally taken the offensive coordinator job at Ohio State. Well, he leaves. So who do they get? They go get UCLA head coach Chip Kelly in one of the most interesting hires here. Think about this right now, okay? He left a Big Ten head coaching job for a Big Ten offensive coordinator job. Think about that for a moment. So, let's think. Yeah, if you think about it, Chip Kelly, his offenses are what everybody's really wanted. I think it revolutionized some of the way the game's played back in the early 2010s, you know. I think that's where he was successful. At UCLA, they were okay. And I just got to say this because it shocks me. And I guess it's not, well, let me rephrase that. It does and it doesn't shock me. And the reason why it does shock me is you're leaving a head coaching position. But it doesn't shock me from the standpoint of how the game is changing. The schedule is so bad. Plus, you go back and look at some of the comments he made last season. It's not a shocker if you look at that and you see this and you're like, oh, put it together. And what do you have? He didn't want to be a head coach with college football anymore. Look at the grueling schedule you got to go through. He don't want that. Look, this offseason, look at how many people have left being a head coach for other opportunities. There's a lot. And it's not going to stop. I said this about a month ago when Saban retired, I believe. And I was like, there's going to be a lot of coaches who are going to leave college football because you can't sustain the schedule. It's too much at one time. And boy, I think I'm right about that. Because ever since then, we've had a lot of coaches leaving. And I mean, Chip Kelly, I think what you're looking at is that if he's offensive coordinator, all he's got to do is worry about the offense. He's not really got to worry about the defense all that much. His job's easier. All you got to worry about is going and recruiting offensive players with Ryan Day. You don't have to worry all so much about, oh, I got to get this defensive player and this defensive player. No, you don't really have to do that anymore. You just have to recruit your offense. So, if you're Chip Kelly, it's a good move because until someone addresses this schedule, I don't think really a lot of guys are going to want to be a head coach in college football. Well, we're going to find out because we've had a lot. But let me know what you think about Chip Kelly. I mean, right now we got a couple comments. Either way, I'm going to pin some comments I've seen here. Colton Naylor says, I would rather have Bill O'Brien. When he says him, he's talking about Bill O'Brien. He'd rather have Bill O'Brien than Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator. And he thinks that Ohio State can't stop hiring bad OCs. Interesting. And then we got another comment from Colton as well. We're going to show this real quick. I think this is Ryan Day's last chance to prove himself, so he is trying way too hard. Interesting. Well, of course, we're going to find out what this is going to look like for Ohio State. But Chip Kelly, he leaves a head coaching job for offensive coordinator within college football. Interesting times we're in, folks. All right, let's go to I believe this is our last topic of the night. So today I figured out that EA Sports released the trailer to the new college football video game. Now, you haven't really heard me talk about this yet because there really hasn't been a lot to talk about other than, they're making a game. Well, we got a trailer. And it pretty much confirmed we're getting a game. There's going to be a more extended version of the trailer coming out in May. But I got to be honest with you folks. EA Sports College Football 25, if you are a person like me, let me tell you, I remember, I first got the college football games after they quit making them. But growing up and you got the 360 and you're playing college football 2012 and you're fixing all the conferences and teams and rosters and trying to put your schedule together and all this kind of stuff. It was so much fun playing Dynasty mode. And I got to tell you what, to have this game coming back, it is such a joy from a standpoint of a fan from my time. And ever since I heard that they were going to reboot this series because of with NIL, you can do it now. I will say, I have been critical about NIL. This is the one thing I'm like, okay, this is awesome why they're bringing this back. Because now you don't have to go to court over any of this. Well, maybe you do have to go to court for some of it. But either way, that's another conversation for another day. But having this game coming back is going to be awesome. And plus, for all the older fans, you got to think about it. Because, and I've got to admit something. I'll bring up another reference from something right quick. I have been critical about the whole Taylor Swift NFL stuff. But the one thing, because if you put it in the context of what I'm fixing to talk about with the video game and Taylor Swift to the NFL brings in a new audience, which gains more money for the league, gains more eyeballs for the league. It's good business. Well, this video game for college football is incredible business. Because let's think about this. You're going to get younger fans who are going to play the video game. They're going to see the players, and they're going to be like, oh, this is real life? Can I watch this? I can really watch this on TV? So they're going to start watching college football. More money for college football, more eyeballs. Good business. So, that's my take on the video game coming back. It's going to help it tremendously. So, folks, when I say that I'm excited for this video game, I'm very excited. So, of course, leave your comments below about what you think about everything. But, excuse me, had to cough there for a second. But, leave your comments below for what you think about all the topics we talked about tonight. And with that, that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about for the night. So, with that, thank you all for watching. We will see you again later. With that, thanks for watching. Goodbye, everybody.